Currently, to start, we have 5 options you can choose to decide what your funding is going to be to start your basketball team. You can be self-funded. Start with your own capital. Subscribe. What is good, YouTube? My name is Malik Childish. I am the developer of You're the Owner, where you don't coach the basketball team. You don't play on the basketball team. You own the whole organization, and you are joining this unnamed league at the moment, which I'll touch on a little bit later. Eventually, how your personality is the type of events that come up, the type of bonuses you get. We have not made it there yet, and I will admit, the development has been longer than I would like. Before we talk about that, I did want to talk about I have gone from 0.1 to now 0.2, which I'm very, very happy about because, wow, we have actually made our first update. Let's see if it lets me upload both at the same time. It looks like it is. And yeah, I think we're good. Okay, it's there. Nice. So we've officially updated it. So by the time you see this, you can go ahead and check it out. Create and customize your team, which that is the update today. Choose your city, name the arena, balance the books with sponsorships, ticket sales, risky side deals, shape the league through rules, trades, and influence, manage your reputation, deciding whether to win fans honestly or silence critics through intimidation. Survive the underworld, where corruption, crime, and loyalty can be as important as talent on the court. This early access gives you an inside look at the personality you will build, as well as walk you through taking your first interview questions. We can now actually update that, creating the team you will own, as well as taking you through your first interview questions. So let's go ahead and hop into the game and kind of play through it and just talk through everything that I've added so far from 0.1 to 0.2. And we're going to go through the exe file just so I can make sure everything is working correctly. So let's go ahead and mute. I read in a book recently where when you are developing a game, it's really necessary to have some sort of toy in your game. You want something that you can play with while you are constantly testing this game. So my toy is this basketball you can kind of just hit on the main menu screen. I love it. That's one of my favorite features. I think the last thing needed is a background image, but I don't know what I want to dedicate to this because you will see I've added a lot of background images. They've been watching from a distance, whispers in corridors, suits on tablets. All they had was a name, yours. So of course I did add some new clothing to it. I added this t-shirt that can randomly generate a pocket. You can see this one doesn't have a pocket, but if we go back, let's see if we can get one to spawn. There we go. And we have a pocket. So once again, just adds to that randomization. Let's hit randomize a couple times, see who we get. Here we go. We got Malik, Miss Malik Jackson. All right, go ahead and hit continue. This is, of course, the personality quiz. This was in it before. Haven't really changed much in these menus. I think eventually I do want to change maybe the look of the buttons a little bit, but I'm okay with this. I don't really want to change much going into this. So let's go ahead and randomly select some just so we can see what we're going to get. Allocate your starting attributes. Once again, I did not change anything here, but I really want people to focus on what am I good at? And, you know, I would like to say I'm probably majority basketball knowledge. I was a former basketball player. And then innovation. Boom. So you can address me as Miss Jackson. I turned playground instincts into front office decisions. The Clutch Bandit. I love the name of that. The interview scene. Now this scene is going to be very, very modular. Like I can just load in any type of interview to this and it can populate all of the fields. So I'm still messing around with how it looks and how it's formatted, but everything is wired perfectly where it does not take me long. I could generate hundreds of these. Anyone could just pop up. Shout out to the gang Podu. Podu can just pop up randomly just because he called you and now you're in a situation that could affect what's going on in your game. So currently all of the questions do not change anything, but I do have them coded for that in the future, which I will show once we get under the hood. Things like if I did deny, the fans will not like me as much. Like our team, you know what I mean, fans goes down, but the social media is still going where I think I figured it out, but I figured I would ask the source. Are you about to launch a new basketball franchise. I said, no comment. Who are you again? And he proceeds to post. I hate when people lie. Only thing we have for the social is the @name and like likes. We don't have like a name of the social platform or anything like that, which I do want to build eventually, but I think it's just understanding how we want our social media to kind of work. And right now I would like my social media to be linked to the type of things that are being said in the game. So I actually said this. I want the world to react to what you are saying. If the rumors are true about your new team, where will it call home? Small city. Love the delay of the social posts, like how they just come in pretty randomly sometimes. Shout out Kieran. Hey man, are you actually doing this? Hey man, yes, we're trying to build a super team, no question. I want stars everywhere, and of course I'm bringing you in. Just don't flinch when the payroll makes your accountant cry. So we're gonna go ahead and continue. So this is what 0.2 introduces. What is your team name? And this is where we are starting to build your team, all hand drawn by your boy. I actually did this one in Illustrator, but everything else is hand drawn. But I feel like every game, anytime there's logos, companies put in their own. So I had to put in my own. So there's so much to choose from. And once again, I can update these, upgrade them, make them look cleaner. One of my biggest issues is the color changes the entire logo. So that's already something I do want to eventually level up, where we can add different shades or multiple colors to kind of change different parts of the image. But that's going to take now 2 layers of images instead of just the one. So as you can see on the right side, when you do change your colors, it changes the entire stadium color, which this is 2 layers of images. Cities, I did not put in a lot of cities here. I think what I really wanted to focus on are what are cities that actual professional teams are not in yet in the United States. There's some really big cities here, but you got to think the NBA grew up really fast. So there's pro teams in a lot of cities right now. So I really wanted to be very specific on that. And I think where we expand here is smaller cities that might not be that big to have a NBA style team there. We're going to go with Buffalo, New York to start. We're going to call ourselves the best team ever. Funding. So this is where I want you to really start getting into your role play as a owner. So currently to start, we have 5 options you can choose to decide what your funding is going to be to start your basketball team. You can be self-funded, start with your own capital, be able to start your own lore of how the heck did he get that money in the first place. Fund it with a loan, you borrow the money, we will be able to add different things tied to that you have to pay back. Maybe it's a loan shark, whatever that is. Investor, maybe you have a partner that's willing to front you the money. Maybe all of the profit doesn't go to you like it does if you were self-funded. We have multiple investors. If there's multiple investors, you're definitely not making as much money as if you were self-funded. And then finally, private equity. This is the most money that you can start with in the game, but this will be the hardest to make money and to build your team. So this is how I definitely wanted to build out, because we will be able to tie all of these back, how the game interacts with you. So now the stadium name, this is something I was actually really excited about. So we're just going to type in the best stadium, and you can see it's literally putting the text on the stadium image. And what is helpful about this, I can drop this stadium image anywhere now, all with the stadium name. You have to decide how many seats, aka how much are you going to start your investment with on the stadium. So most stadiums kind of sit around this like 16 to 18,000 range. If we're talking in terms of the largest professional basketball teams, there's some that go all the way as low as 15,000 in some cities. So coming all the way up to like 25,000, like we are talking record breaking numbers literally once you pass like this 20,000 mark. So anything past this point is basically late game. So we don't want the player to start with that. So we are going to start, maybe just a 15,000, and eventually down the line, maybe we can upgrade how many seats are going to be in this stadium. Boom. We're going to go ahead and hit continue. And this is the newspaper scene. This is a scene I was actually really proud of. The newspaper is a forgotten relic in media. And I think it just looks cool in the game. I think it kind of fits the aesthetic very well. And then I also auto-populated all of this text. So there's text that talks about the seats that you put in. How much money did you put into it? Out of the money you have left, is it a lot or is it a little to really go in? So you can see Malik has allocated substantial resources for player acquisitions and operational expenses. So once again, I want the game to kind of just move by all of the decisions you are making, because that is how the media is going to interact. The social media is going to interact, how players are going to interact with you, and how other owners are going to interact with you. And then I also have stuff on here that kind of details based off of your personality. Once again, it's just showing how your personality is still being tied to things way down the line. So this is the announcement that, hey guys, it's official, there's a basketball team coming. And this is where you can see, known for a hooper approach to management, Malik is expected to bring a unique vision to the franchise. So gonna go ahead and click next. And yes, we are getting another interview scene. These are all phone calls to start, but I'm just calling it interview scenes because this will eventually change into, like, this image will change into who's interviewing you or who you're standing in front of. Right now, these are all phone calls, so I can't see these people right now. We're talking to these people on the phone. So I kind of made it a point, like, you don't see them. You're just looking at yourself because you're the one on the phone. So once we are talking to someone in person, maybe that's when we can have them, you know, their profile photos right next to each other, something like that. This is introducing more characters into this one, but I am going to skip by this because, once again, I want people to experience what 0.2 has as we continue to update it. But shout out to the homie Lico Gotti. He did ask to have his name in. Once again, if you are a member of the YouTube page, just let me know. We can get your name in the game. And then it takes you back to the roadmap page, and this is the end of the line for 0.2. Nothing really has changed here. Once again, the hope 2026 to really start zoning in on what is this game going to be like when you are playing every single day. So let's go under the hood so I can just show just some small details that I have been learning while using Godot, but also where we are trying to move next for 0.3, 0.4. Definitely just wanted to show just how packed the customized team scene script is. It's pretty thick. Funding options, you can see self-funded here, funded with a loan. If I go into the global user team data, you can see funding option now, which this is important because now off of that selection, all I have to do is call funding option. I can call, if it's a win, it checks funding option. Now, you know, a scene might pop up asking, hey, you didn't pay your bills last week. This is everything so far just for the team data. Name, state, conference, which we have not stepped into that yet, but thinking ahead a little bit. Current balance, obviously that's what we're going to be going up and down against. And I'm going to be adding loan amounts here and, you know, a whole lot of other things that we're going to have to start implementing once we do start getting into how does selecting your funding option affect your game experience. And then I just wanted to show, once again, here's the stadium image. So based off of what is being populated on this stadium image, if that is the name of the stadium and the color, that is all just going to save into the scene. So now I can just plop this scene anywhere. Luckily, I went through it with the owner scene. So when I created the owner, same thing. The owner is saved as its own scene. So I can now populate the owner's image, putting into the scene the same image, the same texture every single time I build out a scene. The text is kind of formatted weird on it, and those are all things I'm not trying to spend too much time on right now. Like even the newspaper, the text is still kind of weird in some places, but like I'm just not trying to spend a ton of time on just cleaning up the really small design details because I just showed you 15 data fields just around the team, and we have not made it to the game scene yet, which I'm going to show here in a second. But the next thing is the interview scene. So I basically had to reconstruct this whole interview scene for 0.2. I wanted to build out a way that when this scene is called, all it's looking for is what the previous scene basically wanted to load. So there's going to be a config with every single scene change. So from this scene on the continue press, global interview manager, start interview, team announcement. Load the interview scene, but load it with these settings. Go ahead and open up team announcement. Team announcement, you can see, oh, okay, so that's the interview ID that is now linked to every question that it's going to go through when it loads this scene. So we can open it up even more. Question 1 with Liko Gotti. You can see here's all the responses, answers, effects. That's what's going to be tied to how does this affect your team. Can't wait to start diving into that. With the interview ID, that's all I need to tie it back to social posts. This is kind of a pain, and I figured out a way to get past this, but this is how I have to build out every single post that gets posted. If you answer the defiant question for the crime question, there's a chance this post will be populated. And I had to find the answer ID and then put this in for every single post, which is nice because then I could just do copy and then just paste and then just change out whatever it is. But I was like, dude, I have to go back to my interview scene to find the answer ID. So I shout out to Claude. I was able to build out a way to just pull the question into the social post rules. So now I'm looking directly at, let's say this is question number 2. Okay, answers, here's the answer, respond, oh, here's the answer ID. And I can literally just Control A, Control C, and then I can paste that directly into the answer ID. And now I feel really good going into whatever 0.3 looks like, which I hope you guys have some insight on what you're hoping 0.3 looks like, but I'm just going to talk through what it looks like at the moment. So I showed this in my very first video explaining this is my idea of the game. And I kind of started building this page with that in mind. I just wanted to see it. I couldn't see it for a long time on like, okay, it's an owner simulation game. Like, do you do it by days? Or are we going to need a calendar? Do you care about team rankings if you own the team? Like, it was just a lot of checks and balances I needed to get out of the way. But then the data started messing me up. So one thing about 0.2 is I erased a lot of data that I knew I did not need at the moment. I started putting in a lot of stuff that was not needed at the moment, and I just deleted all of that stuff because I was like, I just need to really lock in on how do we get here. So as you can see, I'm kind of picturing some sort of nav menu, of course. Like, we're going to want to be able to navigate around the game pretty quick, but this is where you have your team button, stadium button, league button. We don't even have a league name yet. Does the player decide the league name? Do we randomize the league name to kind of give it like, okay, there's some things you can control, but there's some things that is up to fate? I don't know. So I'm kind of thinking we do lean towards completing what does the league customization look like before you start this journey. So we are almost there. Like, then we have to, of course, talk about the team construction, which I will show that next, because this is going to be the hardest part. That's before we even think about, you know, matchups and how does it decide when the next game is, that how does it decide how many tickets sell for the game, you know, how much XP is it every time you win, to then you see how fast it can get out of whack. A lot of questions where once I did this like just rough layout, I was like, I'm going way too fast. I think this is the first time I've shown this portion, but I don't know what any of the like side nav menus are, but what I picture when you go to the different like stadium tab, league tab, you then get your other nav, because I kind of want it to be like, okay, now I'm in stadium mode, or I'm in team mode where everything in here is to do everything I need to do about my team. So I had an idea of like, okay, here's your players. Like, I think as an owner, you kind of should have an idea of who your players are, but what you can do about those players, that's where I wanted it to stay very, very owner focused. And that's where I started thinking of the employee tree. So you'll have your like head of basketball operations, head of scouting, and then you have like marketing director and all of those things, where that's where I stopped here. You can see this is literally where I stopped, because I was like, oh, this is going to be really fun once we get it done. But it intimidated me because, once again, I'm looking at initiatives like free lunch for the staff, boardroom. That's where you can decide on hirings and firings, sponsorships. You know what I mean? Can we sell the stadium rights on this tab? I'm not here yet, and I don't want to be here yet. I think there's a lot of things that has to be thought out before we understand how your head of basketball operations affects your whole experience. So going back to the home screen, as I said, I feel like I'm not that far off. I feel like we are very close to what does this look like once everything is wired up, ready to schedule us for one game. That might be 2 months from now. That might be 6 months from now. I don't know. And that is a good thing, because once again, I feel like there's just a lot of things I have to complete first to get to what this could look like. Once again, we don't even have a league name, and I don't want there to be just one league name, but I'm kind of leaning towards you can't just type in what the league name is. Like, I'm kind of leaning towards like maybe you get 3 randomly generated ones of my choosing that you can choose. I think I did actually start that. I did. Which please don't look too much into this. But this is where I was like, league culture, conferences. Do we have to answer all of this? Or is all of this already set, and then you can vote on it once the season starts? And I feel like things like shot clock probably do not need to be here. It should probably just default to 24. And then once you get through your first season, an owner raises his hand like, hey, it'd be kind of cool if we went down to 23. This is probably the next battle for 0.3, is how is the league created? And off of this, I would love for it to start seeing what does generating other owners looks like. I would love for this continue button to instantly introduce you to a randomly generated owner that will be in your game. The last time this was updated was 3 months ago. I think that's a good goal. Like, where can I be at in another 3 months with this? I would love to knock out league creation, owner creation across the league. Let's see what it looks like when an owner gets assigned a team in a city and all of that stuff. So, and of course, adding more art and more things to it. And yeah, so free download still. I'm still calling it an early demo, I guess. And yeah, it's really childish. Two.